My name is Jake McDermott, and in front of me today I have my presentation on The Ashes That Cried, my 5 to 10 minute long feature film for my HND project. So let's start. So this here is a brief synopsis of the project. A couple of friends go camping, and they find a house, and they decide to go into the house. And unforeseen things happen. I've taken great inspiration from movies such as The Blair Witch Project with its way of handheld camera, as this is what I want to do with mine. I want to make it seem like it's been recorded by students for a student project. This here is an inspiration mood board of ideas that I generally think may work. We just have, obviously Michael Myers, slasher horror people, camping. Camping's a big one in this project. I'm actively going to be camping during the shoot, so it adds a sense of realism to it, if you get what I'm saying. And for demographical audiences, I feel like meeting a set group of people between the ages of 18 to 24 would suit me best to aim, because it's my age, and I feel like people my age will resonate more with my project sheerly because of what's in it and a bit of humor, comedy. Obviously, it's a horror film, but obviously you have to have a sense of humor in it. If a movie's just sterile, it's not going to work. I plan on uploading these on platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and all of them, as it is what people my age and above may even use to get sources. If I go to publicize it and make trailers or make anything like that there, I feel like my best bet to go would be Instagram, as a lot of young audiences tend to use Instagram for news. I also want to find slasher lovers, horror lovers, just people in general who like that sense of handheld, up close, uncanny style recording. Now, with the psychographics, the ideal psychographic profile for my horror would be people who are seeking sensation, people who are open-minded. They often seek thrills with a high-paced slasher or demon. I'm still coming together with it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do demon. You'll see when it's done. Morbid curiosity. I feel like people need to have a bit of morbid curiosity to watch my film, as it's going to be a bit dark. Well, not dark, but the props I'm going to use in it, they're not, it's a bit squeamish. Like, I'll get into the props in a minute of what I'm trying to discuss. Enjoyment of destructiveness. This falls in line with discomfort, on-screen kills, stuff like that there. I'm actually going for a Tartarov narrative of a 5-act structure instead of your generic typical 3-act structure. I feel like doing the 5 acts allows me to space out a lot more and make it seem uncanny. Again, with my project, I'm not going for your typical streamline production, start to finish, A to B, fairy tale story. I'm going for it broken up, it's in handheld, it's in cinematic, stuff like that there. Yeah, so the equilibrium, the initial stable state where everything is normal, disruption, recognition, repair, and new equilibrium. All this stuff will be heavily considered when I'm doing my project and filming commences. Now, this is a long one. This is a brief transcript of my project. My production, The Ashes That Cried, is a 5 to 10 minute long linear story, which is a horror comedy. The story begins with a few lads in early springtime in Northern Ireland who have planned to go camping in the Mourne Forest for the weekend, next to an old abandoned house, which was rumoured to have burnt down with a family inside that tragically passed away. As Mark, the protagonist, finishes his story around the campfire, the characters begin to discuss what really happened in the house, what actually went down. Mark and Martin arguing on what they think really happened, hinting at a subtle conflict between the two. Connor breaks up the argument by handing them both a bottle of beer and telling them that the house is, it's only a house, it's stupid. He tells the others that he needs it as he goes back to the tent. They're talking about the tent pucks, by the way. The camera opens on Aaron walking through the forest alone as the sky is dull and the night is cold. Aaron, who is paranoid, always, and like usual, begins to talk to himself for comfort. He can barely be seen, but with a flashlight, he can be seen by someone. We don't know who this someone is until then. That's the transcript for my project. I hope you can get a brief narrative of what's actually meant to go down. Now, this is the cold open. I think I might briefly change the cold open, but it's still going to resonate and stay mainly with the same and what it's at. On a cold storm last night in the remote hills of the Mourne Mountains, 5 friends arrived at a camp beside a long abandoned house buried deep in the back end woods. As darkness closes in, Mark entertains the group around a flickering campfire with his presence with a local story, one tied to the very grounds that they now are on. His tale, half mocking and half serious, unsettles the mood, though the others laugh it off because they've been drinking. They don't believe him. They think it's a joke. Obviously, you would think it's a joke. But we're moving into the characters now. Now, every single unique person in this is getting their own role, obviously. Mark is actually helping me as assistant DOP to the whole project. I've brought Mark on to be a part of the crew, as Mark has experience in production before, being at Ulster University and stuff like that there. Mark's roles on set will be assistant DOP, acting as main protagonist, and overall management of the set aside myself. Callum McColgan has been brought forward to be a part of his production due to his expertise in sound management and overall expertise and attitude on set. Callum will also have a role in this production as a supporting actor to the main cast. Role, sound management, actor and runner. Aaron McManus. Aaron McManus has been brought forward as a supporting main lead. His roles in the production is to bring a lively attitude. Roles, supporting main, protagonist and runner. The next character is Connor Heaney. Connor Heaney has been brought on to help with the overall management and transport, as he's the only one who drives out of all of us, so we had to work around that there. He'll be working behind the scenes as our drone pilot and runner, working along with myself, the DOP and director. Myself, Jake McDermott. Jake McDermott is the leading producer and director of The Ashes That Cried. Jake will almost be solely working behind the camera as the DOP. This production is a college project Jake must complete by the 10th of May with absolute no room for lateness for anyone who does PowerPoint may entail. Idea generation and general idea off the project. So again, we're going to another mood board with abandoned house, camping sites, derelict, stuff like that there. This is the style I'm going for. It's the theme. I want it to be dark. I want it to be grungy. I want it to be vibrant. All that sorts of stuff. That is the end of my presentation into The Ashes That Cried. But now that that is over, I would like to discuss directly to you what the plan is. So, early March, we're now in April, so early March I began initially scouting out locations and going to old abandoned houses around Donegal, Derry and Strabane. I narrowed down the location to a spot. Now that is set, I fully know what we're doing with that. Recording has begun. Briefly, B-roll has begun. By, I'd say, the next week, we're going to end up going camping then, to get the initial shots at the campsite and all that there. And then by the end of the project, we actually need to travel far up southwest, because that is where there's an old World War II fortress, which will be used as a set on my production, obviously after risk assessments have been done, client release forms have been recorded, and everything up the start. This overall project I aim to have done by the 5th of May, and I feel like The Ashes That Cried could be one of my greatest projects yet, as I've taken a lot of time and care and consideration into what scenes I want, what audio I want, what sound effects do I want, and what actors do I want in my project. Personally, I think with a little bit more research into stuff like that there and conducting more independent, time, I feel like this project can be executed to a high standard of HND to what I think I can do. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I was Jake McDermott.